hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. I guess that's my cue. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday show. It is me. I am here with you. It's Wednesday, our 2-hour show. And, of course, I'm not here alone. I brought my good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard, here, who is sucking in furniture right next to me.
I'm powering up for Coloma this weekend.
Absolutely. And welcome, brother. You been doing good?
Yeah. It's been a long day. I got to open tomorrow, so that way I'll have a good sleep and get there early on Friday.
Well, good. Yeah, we'll be on our way, ladies and gentlemen, to Coloma, Montana, which is near the town of Missoula, and we are going to be investigating a ghost town, Bigfoot hotspots, on Friday and Saturday this weekend. It's happening. It's finally happening. This is the second time I will have been up there. Of course, I wouldn't even know about it if it wasn't for our guest, who kindly invited me along for a journey last year. And, of course, I'm speaking of our dear friend and brother and part of the Paranormal Portal himself, Mr. Duke Sullivan. Welcome, brother.
Bum, bum, bum.
Big Sky, howdy, everybody. How y'all doing tonight?
We are doing good, brother. We are all excited. The days are taking forever because, of course, this weekend we're going to be all coming together in your neck of the woods. And you've got a hell of a neck of woods over there.
Yeah, I was telling one of my friends when I originally moved here, I did some research on where reported Bigfoot sightings in this area were, and I took sort of a map of the area, and I started making little red dots wherever there was a reported sighting. And after a while, I realized I was in the middle of a big red circle, and I kind of went, well, it's pretty easy to do Squatch research around here. Just pretty much go in any direction, and you'll be in an area where somebody's seen one.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be showing you guys some pictures tonight. The Duke has set us up with dozens and dozens of photos of the area we're going to be checking out, along with a bunch of stories and experiences that people have had up there already. But you'll see, it's basically you're up there in an ocean of wilderness, and it's a surreal experience. One that even when I was driving home from the last time, Duke, as exhausted as I was already like, I got to get back there. That was so amazing. I want to get back there. And so I'm really excited that we'll be doing that this weekend. And thank you again for extending our invite for another year and letting us come over.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we should be doing this every year. Every year we should be having a little midsummer expedition up to Coloma. You guys can do some ghost and paranormal research, and my team can have a little relaxing weekend doing some not quite so stressful Bigfoot research and only a ghost town.
Right. Right on the top of the show, I just want to say a special thank you to our good, wonderful friend, Dan Pruitt. He joined me last year when I went up to the Coloma investigation and we met Duke. But unfortunately, Dan won't be able to make it this year. But I wanted to give a special thank you and it's to Dan because he's made so much of this possible.
Yes, he did.
And we really, our hats are off to you, brother. We wish you would be there. We wish you could be there. It won't be the same without you, but we'll do our best in your stead to make it just as memorable as we can. And I'm sure we won't have a problem with that. But you remember Dan, of course, yeah?
Yeah, I actually wish he was going to be here with us again this year because conditions are even better,
Yeah.
and we're going to be there longer and have more teams. So it would be really helpful if he would have been there this year. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. I had a couple other people that wanted to go really bad, and situations being what they are, they can't make it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we do have another experienced investigator coming up. This MCAT, Mike Hetzel, our very own MCAT, will be joining us up there, and he's of course been a paranormal investigator for a number of years. He was part of the National TAPS team or affiliate as well. So he's hopefully going to help us do it right, because now that we're going to have more people up there. We're going to have more opportunity to broaden our scope of what we're doing up there, and I think we'll have more opportunities to catch some amazing things going on.
yep, we've tried to do expeditions up there quite a few times, and that area is like really tricky to get a good slot to actually be up there and not have lousy weather. Because you're sitting at a mile altitude, and kind of like not that far from the Canadian border, and tends to be winter there about 10 months of the year. So you got this really narrow window of summer, and then you have to like somehow manage to pick a weekend where it's not going to be raining and cold. Because we've had that happen before too. We're up there and it's raining and windy during the day, and then the temperature drops at night. Well, now everybody on the team gets to risk hypothermia the whole time they're there. It's just not that much fun. So I'm really glad that we're getting the weather that I ordered for this weekend. And it looks like Saturday they're actually predicting mid-80s.
Oh,
nice.
So should be spectacular. Not supposed to rain for over a week from now.
Oh, that'll be beautiful. Yeah, that's it. That'll be amazing. And it does. There's quite an amazing change in temperature, and it's over here is the same way over here in Idaho, the north tip of Idaho, where Don and I are. There's quite a contrast between daytime temperatures and nighttime temperatures, and it's took me a while to get used to, just not being a native, but there is quite a shift.
Oh yeah, and it's even more at higher altitude down here in the valley where I'm sitting. It's like 3250, and if it's 85 during the day, you can expect it's going to be 65 at night. So temp's going to drop 20 degrees. Well, if you're up at 78,000 feet, might be more like 30 or 40 degrees. Could be 85 during the day and 45 at night. And the temperature difference is about like an hour from the time it's one until it's the other.
Yeah. I know last year I was really shocked. I've never spent a night up on top of a mountain before, but I was surprised at how cold it can get. I mean that was really a shock for me. It definitely does. I'm in a valley here where we're at, and the change is pretty drastic. But even at, like you said, the higher altitudes, it's so much more so. I remember I was just shivering. I just couldn't. I was standing almost in the fire, and still felt like I had a chill. So it was that kind of cold, but it's going to be great.
Consider yourself really fortunate to have missed Expedition 2018 because there was a burning ban on.
Oh God!
So we didn't have a campfire. We had one of those little space heaters, and we set that in the middle of the fire pit and turned it on, and we all sat around the dull orange glow, warming ourselves and contenting ourselves.
Wow.
That this was somehow keeping large animals at bay or doing anything.
Well, you got to have something. Waving a flaming stick just won't work in a burning ban. So, but it's gonna be a good time, brother. I'm really looking forward to this. Now, there's a hell of a lot of history up there, and you have quite a bit of history up there as well. But can you give just kind of an overview of what is Coloma? What is this town that we're going to be visiting?
It's a very odd place. It's on the same mountaintop as Garnett, a very well-known ghost town that's kept up by the Park Service, even though it's privately owned. And a lot of the buildings are still completely intact, standing. It's touristy. You got to pay to get in there. You can walk around, look at what all the interior, the original buildings all look like, and all that kind of stuff. And they know everything about it. They know, who founded it, who was the last person living there, how many people lived there, what all their names were, how much gold was extracted from the mine there down to the gram. Everything about this town. Now, on the same stagecoach line that served this town from the rail hub, and actually 4 miles closer to the rail hub, is Coloma, which was a larger town. It's got 84 known structures there, none of which there's one that's still standing, the rest all fell down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being kept up. The Park Service has nothing to do with it. It's technically an archaeological site. The university putzes with occasionally. and nobody knows anything about it. Nobody knows who founded it. Nobody knows when it was completely abandoned. Nobody knows how many people lived there. Nobody knows how much gold is extracted from it. All this is very, very peculiar.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some very strange rumors, local legends about this place that first of all, the little people are supposed to live on this mountaintop. And the guy that owns Garnet Ghost Town also will tell you that. He thinks they live there, and it's one of the reasons he doesn't like being up there. So Garnet and Coloma, it's pretty much all over that mountaintop. And if you got an abandoned mine, little people like to live underground. We'll put two and two together.
Mm.
And then there's the obvious presence of Bigfoot on the mountaintop, which we find evidence of every time we go over there. It's not even difficult to find. And then the third thing, of course, is that it is haunted. You guys pretty much verified that last year. And part of that goes back to a rumor that originally what this area was an Indian burial ground. It was like sky burials or something, and they were doing it in that one open mountain area right where the menhirs are, the standing stones, where they had that set up. And then when the prospectors found out, hey, there's a gold vein over here, well, then they moved right in next to it and made a town there, which sort of bad karma.
Yeah.
And then there's also rumors that when the town was petering out and they were running out of gold, that instead of paying the Chinese workers that were working in the mine there, having run out of work to do for the local railway system there, then became miners, that they saw the writing was on the wall. They weren't getting enough gold out of the mine anymore. Didn't want to pay their miners, and at that point they only paid them like every 2 weeks. So they waited until payday and then collapsed the mine on them.
Yeah.
Now nobody knows if this is true or not. However, it is interesting to note that archaeology has been over there doing digs and stuff, and it does look like part of the mine was collapsed. So they haven't been able to verify the whole story, but part of it looks like actually valid. We found exterior openings to the mine just walking around up there, and one of them, it turns out, is right near where we camp all the time. We didn't realize it until the third time we were there, and one of the crumbling structures finished crumbling, and then you could see there was actually a basement in it. Surprise, surprise, because most of these places did not have a basement. And not only was there a basement, there was an entrance to the mine in the basement. So I don't know if this guy was like a member of Hogan's Heroes, or if he was doing a little prospecting on the side of the mine when he wasn't supposed to be, or what was going on there. There was a house right next to the mayor's house, so it could have, it could have been like totally no problem. They knew all about it. Who knows? But we know there's another opening further down the mountain from it, and there's an opening we've spotted but haven't been up to and investigated by a lightning blasted tree, and that's over in the valley where the scary ghost shack is that you guys were investigating last time.
Yeah. And a special thank you to Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it a bunch. I was just typing thank you, but
that's amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. That cabin, I don't know what the story of that place is, but there is a dark presence there, and it got darker as it got darker. Literally, even Dan and I both felt it. At the end, we were picking up equipment, and Dan came out with his arms full, and he said, "Hey, you want to run back in there and grab these other items?" And I was like,
no,
sure.
Do I gotta?
You walk into it, and if you watch the video, ladies and gentlemen, you see that for the most part, I'm in the doorway with my back to everything outside, which is freaky as hell. That whole time, I felt like I was just being watched and stalked. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the creepiest feeling in the world. If you watch that video, you'll see that. But I had to stand there because that was the only place I got reception. I didn't get reception in the cabin, so I had to stand outside as Dan was inside doing the EVP work and the portal app. And it was when I walked back into there to get those last pieces of equipment, it was like I hit a wall. And it was the creepiest wall that I've ever walked into, and we left because we got an EVP saying "get out," like that, and that was like, okay, we're gonna leave now.
See ya.
That was our cue, and yeah, it was that place is weird. What is the history on that place, Duke? Do you know anything about it?
I don't know. We did an interior look around on that place, and the oldest thing we can find in it is from the 90s.
Yes.
And actually, in the 5 years we've been going up there, we have seen zero evidence of anybody moving anything around in there or leaving anything new in there.
But they left stuff on the table, like it was like
like they left in a hurry and they just left stuff there and they never came back.
Right. That's what was weird to me is like there's stuff set on that table, like they were expecting to have coffee in the morning or something, but. I mean, and the chair was dug into by something. I'm sure to, whatever, raccoons or whatever. But the point is that whatever's going on with that building, it's creepy. That's a creepy building. I'm just going to go on the record with that.
Well, the other thing you didn't even mention, and that was going on when you were up there live streaming. You started out live streaming in the building because you were getting a signal.
Yes.
But the darker it got, the less signal you got, and you had
Right.
to actually back out of the building
That's
in
true.
order to keep the live stream going.
Yep. I had 2 bars pretty consistently through there during the daytime. We got there in the evening to start recording, and as it progressed, the bars were gone. They were going, and it was sporadic at first, and then after a while, I couldn't get any signal in there, so I had to go sit in the doorway outside and try to film what was going on. But it was very, very strange. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, but never anything like that. And I felt really like whatever was going on there didn't like us there at all.
Yeah, we always get that creepy feeling when we go up to that haunted hunting shack. We'd rather be in the regular ghost town and not go anywhere near that place.
Now, I will say too that we're using a database app when we were doing the sound stuff, and what it is it's a phonic collection of these sounds, not a whole word in the whole batch. So anytime you hear a whole word, that shouldn't be happening. That's not possible because it's randomly grabbing these phonic sounds, and there's all kinds of variations of that. So I guess by chance you might get a word every so long a period of time, but there were sounds coming out of there that were not in that database, and one was as if somebody was pointing a gun at us, going bang, bang, bang. That is not on that database. And that happened nowhere else in that time. But it was like somebody was, letting us know that, it wanted to kill us or whatever. It was really weird. It was just
Yeah, and
creepy.
if you didn't catch the hint there, then you had the voice at the very end when you asked them what you want us to do, it said, "Get out."
Yeah, yeah, and being responsible, average intelligence people, we got out.
It didn't take a rocket scientist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no.
I understand those words.
I know that one.
Yeah. Take the hint.
And we did, and that's when we went over. Of course, by then it was nightfall, and there was no light to be found. And then we went on and sat in the tailgate of the truck and investigated the town proper, and just standing there in a wall of blackness. That was weird. I'm really excited this time because there's going to be more people, and I'll tell you honestly, the fact that we were streaming for me was like. It was like a lifeline. It was like that energy was so important because if you felt like, you're alone, you're bobbing in an ocean of blackness, and just knowing that there was that connection to all these people watching it with really meant a lot. It really made it a lot more bearable. But I'm excited that there's going to be more of us this time, and we can spread out and we can break it down into, activities or different approaches. So that'll be great.
Yeah. And I'll be up there the whole time this time. Last time I had a team that was antsy to get over to the other site where there's a lot more Bigfoot action even. So
Yeah.
there's like even too much Bigfoot action over there. That's why we were only there a day and a half.
Right.
Yeah, you guys got kind of hurried out of there too. So
Yeah, the neighbors didn't like us being there any longer, and they made sure we got the idea.
yeah,
So we had to get out of there. When you got one 20 feet away from your truck, snapping branches and grunting at you, it's time to leave.
that's a good sign. Yeah, that's kind of like get out of a cabin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their version of get out.
Yeah.
Bang,
Yeah.
bang.
Yep, exactly. So it's going to be a great time. I appreciate you giving the background on it because I couldn't. I don't know. I've looked into trying to figure out what this place is about, and I can't find much information on it. There's just pieces and parts out there, and very vague mentions at best in most cases. So
That's it, and that's the part that I find to be very disturbing because you've got this actually larger town that's contemporary to this other one that's incredibly well known in every detail, and they're on the same stagecoach line. Why is this one completely unknown?
Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever it is, that darkness hangs out over that place. And I can't say it was a horrible experience. It wasn't like it was terrifying the whole time, but there were moments that it really did get really creepy. And, again, you can't really do much about it. You just gotta bear with it and get through it. But
Ride it through.
yeah, exactly. So, I know we've got a whole lot of material to get through tonight. Would you want to start with those photos, Duke?
Yeah, let's go to the Coloma track pics before we have to take a quick break here.
Okay.
Bottom of the hour. Or, no, you're not taking breaks. It's Wednesday. Okay.
Well, we could
Yeah,
if
let's
you
go.
want.
We can if you want. I mean, you just let us know when you want to take a break, and we'll take a break.
I'm just trying to think and remember. It's usually like, okay, Friday. It's not going on now.
No, it's fine. We can go. But so first, this is a picture of the Coloma area proper, right? The misty
Yep.
pic. Okay.
Yep, these the first few pictures you're seeing were taken by somebody who hasn't got anything to do with Bigfoot or anything. They're just a hobbyist photographer, actually a really good one.
Oh.
And, excuse me, 2014 they decided to take their camper up to Coloma in the spring and go camping for 3 days.
Uh-oh.
There was no one there. It was just him and his black lab Curly.
Hold on a second,
And-
Duke. I don't know why, but only one of these pictures is opening so far, and so let me use a different application quick. I had it pulled up and it opened okay on the first one, but that's about it. So let me pull up a different application here for the images, as it were. Let's see. Open with. We'll try another one. That was photos. Let's go to the Power Media Player, I guess. I guess we can try this one. I'm not sure where it's going to open, though. Where is it opening?
Yep, it's on the back behind you.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Let's do this. Let's drag it over. Back to Duke's face and cover that up. No offense, Duke. We love you, but...
Yeah, you're better off.
Okay, so this is the first one here. Got it. And...
So anyway, should be a couple pictures of what it looked like around there when he was there, and then there should be track pictures.
Oh.
And so getting back to the story, he was up there for like 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
and the first day and a half that he was there, it just rained the whole time.
Mm.
And it started to clear off toward evening, so in the morning he was antsy to get out and go run around and get some pictures before it potentially started raining again.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing in the morning, of course, you open the camper door up and you let the dog go do their business. And frolicky, frisky black lab Curly was acting unusual that morning. Instead of wanting to run out and go take off into the woods and chase a rabbit or something, he seemed to go very short distance, like maybe about 4 feet from the door, looked nervously around, bent over and did his business, and then bolted back into the camper again. And this isn't normal behavior for him at all, but my friend Ladd doesn't really think about it very much, you know. I don't know, whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to get rained on. Never stopped him before. But he decides to take his camera and go for a little walk, see what he can find. Well, it had been clear for, the previous night and part of the morning, even though it was still misty and stuff. So a lot of the rain on the ground had dried off. There were still a few puddles left. He's walking down the road, and he sees tracks on the road. And he looks, kind of glances over at him. He's like, oh, grizzly tracks, great. Well, that's why Curly didn't want to come out of the trailer, because there's a grizzly out here. He smelled it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's walking along a little further, and then he starts thinking, oh, if there's a grizzly wandering around here, I don't have the dog with me. Maybe I should head back. I'll go take some pictures of his tracks and head back. So he walks over closer and takes a look at him, and he realizes there's no front footprints. He starts looking at it closer and realizes there's no claw prints. And it's not a bear track. So he takes his camera and he gets a good picture of it, and then he finds another little partial one, gets a picture of that, where it had stepped through a mud puddle and then left 4 toes and part of the front of the foot on the ground. You can see the mud that it left there.
Mm-hmm.
And the other track, he didn't, of course, have a tape measure with him, not a Bigfoot researcher. But that track, you can see right next to it, there's a print from a horse's hoof, so that gives you a pretty good scale.
Wow.
Well, yeah, 15.5 inches long track. And the nice thing about it is if you have a really good version of it, you can see the dermal ridges on it. This is, it ain't a bear track. It's got dermal ridges and it doesn't have claws. It's a 15.5-inch track of some sort of weird hominoid. So in 2015, I was actually living with him, and I was talking to him about Bigfoot stuff, and he said, oh, have I ever showed you my Littlefoot track? And I went, what? And he said, yeah, I got a picture from Coloma, a couple of tracks, and he showed them to me, and he kind of really didn't have any opinion on Bigfoot one way or the other than, it's real, I've got pictures of the tracks.
Uh-huh.
Not really interested in it otherwise. But at the point where he's actually taking the tracks, pictures, he starts to get this creepy feeling something's watching him. Because now he realizes that this ain't a grizzly, but whatever it is still probably around here. Those tracks are really fresh. And it's probably watching me, and I should go back to the camper. Now, on the way back to the camper, he took a couple other pictures of the scenery and stuff, which I didn't include. But that was his big experience up there. And then that clued me in that, well, hey, you got a picture of a weird track. And I looked at the track, and I went, you realize this has only got 4 toes, right? He's like, what? And I looked at it close. It's only got 4 toes. And then we looked at it even closer, and it does, one of the tracks shows a 5th toe. The hallux is out to the side, like not where it should be on a human, but where it should be on a pongid, a orangutan subgroup type ape, which isn't even a Bigfoot. So whatever the hell left that track, okay, that's really creepy. But that got me up there looking at it. So, and the next series of pictures you got are from when I got up there, and I was up there with Researcher X, which wasn't until 2016 we were up there. And she was all set to go. She had her Squatch mobile, as you can see from the pictures. Her license plate even says Squatch on it, and she's got a sticker on the back window that says Squatch Life. And we spent like 4 days up there, had all sorts of things, interesting things happen, found tracks and found tree structures, had a deer jump over my head. That I found one of the pits that either had been a collapse or it was, I think, where archaeology was digging where there had been a collapse, and they'd opened it up a little bit more to get, like, put a camera into the mine to see. So I'm trying to get down close enough to put my camera in and see something, and while I'm there, I hear footsteps, something running toward me through the thick brush, and all of a sudden, a deer jumps over my head, lands on the other side of the pit, and just keeps going as fast as it can. And I hear footsteps of something chasing the deer stop about 40 feet away from the pit that I was in.
Oh, my God.
And Researcher X, who's walking down the road and sees the deer jump over my head, goes, "Oh, my God, did you see that deer?" And I went, "Yeah, it just jumped over my head." And that was when she said, "Oh, my God, did you see that?" is when whatever it was pursuing the deer stopped because it heard her voice. Otherwise, it would have walked right up on that pit where I was, below ground level, and it couldn't see me in there.
Oh, my God.
So that was pretty creepy. And then the second day we were there, she decided to try her Ghostbuster gear, and she had a EM meter going, and she had a little tape deck going. She was asking them one of those scanning things, questions, and see if she could get a response ghost box. And that's the video that I've got with Ghost of Coloma.
Let's watch that because she's using the K2 meter, and those are they're kind of the jackknife of paranormal investigators. They're always there, and they're real reliable. They're great little tools, and while they are prone to false positives around civilization, in a setting like this, it should be perfect because there's some people say K2s can even pick up cars starting from across the street. I mean, that they can be prone to those kind of false positives. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
But
well, first of all, just to get into that for a second while you're keying this up, Coloma was never wired for electricity, so there are no dead buried grounds and cables in the ground anywhere.
Exactly.
There's no electricity there at all. Yep. The vehicle was a good 45, 50 feet away from us. She did have her cell phone, and it was on, and she was texting back and forth to, when she could get a signal, she was texting back and forth to people all day long, and it never influenced the meter the entire time she was doing that, no matter what distance she was away from it. So that's not even really an option because we just saw too many examples where she was texting somebody or something, and nothing was happening, right, and the meter was on. As a matter of fact, we had it on quite a bit and basically burned up the older batteries that she had in it. And then we had just replaced them and put new batteries in about 3-4 minutes. And we started this session in the afternoon. It's nice, bright, sunny afternoon. And she's asking them questions and stuff, and she's got the meter running. And then all of a sudden the thing just spiked. Yeah. And when this whole thing on video comes to an end, it actually had fried the batteries, which is why it didn't come back on again. But you should play this with audio so people can hear what's happening.
Okay, well, let's watch it now, ladies and gentlemen. Duke, you're probably not going to hear it, but those of you out on YouTube, you will. So if everything's working correctly. Let's check out this video, though. It's really spectacular. I've never seen a K2 do this before. So this is pretty profound.
The EM meter is going absolutely insane.
Is there anyone here with us right now? Can you tell us your name? Where are you from? How many are here with us tonight? How old are you? What year is it? Can you tell me who the president is? What do you want? You can use this to talk to us. Did you work in the mine?
Wow.
Was that a yes? Did you turn off my EMF meter because you were answering my question? If so, can you turn it off again? On the count of 3.
Oh.
Yes, it can turn it off.
Okay, so you are answering my question.
Yeah, fried the batteries.
You can turn it back on now. On the count of 3, turn the EMF meter back on. 1, 2, 3. Did you just drain the battery on my EMF meter? Are you going to turn my EMF meter back on? Please? Oh.
I have never seen one of them do anything like that before.
What do you think?
That was really
You
weird.
turned it off.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It was pegged the entire time, and that's what I was talking about. I've never seen one pegged out like that for that long of a period. I mean, that they'll spike,
It's like
and
something
you'll
was standing right on it.
yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. It is like that. Really crazy stuff, Duke.
Yeah, and it got creepier from there. That was the third afternoon that we were there, and then that evening, Researcher X was sleeping in her SUV with her dog and her 2 loaded pistols. Well, I was roughing it out in the fabric tent with my nothing, and I was actually patrolling around camp at night. I get up in the dark and walk around with no flashlight and disturb the Bigfoot because I was walking around with no flashlight. And the last night, or the third night, it was actually cold, so I decided to start a little fire pit next to the tent. And you know right where I camp.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you want to show everybody the pictures of the mayor's house that I included, which was still standing when we were there. There's like one picture of the car, and there's another picture of the mayor's house. One of the walls had fallen down, but otherwise it was still standing.
Yeah,
and we were camped on the side the wall had fallen down, and right adjacent to where the fallen wall was is where Researcher X had her SUV, and about 25, 30 feet away from that is where I had my tent. So I had the fire pit over there. It's getting dark. It's getting cold. She's already in the SUV and tired out, and I want it to get warmer, so I'm breaking up firewood and not thinking I take this big piece of firewood and start smashing it against a tree. Whack, whack, snap. And I throw it into the fire pit, and I'm like, oh, bleep, what the hell did I just do? I'm like, that's not very smart. I know they're around here. What? Oh, geez. Okay, well, hopefully somebody's watching me right now, and they realize that I wasn't trying to signal. No, nobody was watching me right now. Because about 45 minutes later, I was just about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden my tent starts furiously shaking back and forth. Now, this is one of those, ground-hugging A-frame tents, where if you sit up, you can sit upright, and your head won't be touching the top of the tent.
Sure.
Well, whatever it was had grabbed the end pole on the tent and was whacking it back and forth far enough that when I sat up, I was getting hit on both sides of my head by the tent. So I'm like scrambling around trying to find my cell phone. Finally, I can't see it. It's black in there. I reach it with my hand. I pop it open. I've got enough signal, and I call Researcher X, 25 feet away in the SUV, and she picks up her phone. And I go, there's something shaking my tent. Hit the car alarm. Whap, 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 and get hit in the tent. There's this dead silence for about 20 seconds. I go, hit the car alarm. And she goes, I'm scared. You're in the car with a dog and 2 loaded pistols, and you're scared? Hit the car alarm. So anyway, she hits the car alarm. Beep, beep, beep. Lights go off, noise, honking. Immediately the shaking stops. We both hear whomp, 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 whomp of this thing running away from my tent. On step number 2, it was adjacent to her SUV, so that's 25 feet, 2 steps. Wow. Slapped her SUV as it ran past it, and then took 2 more big steps before it felt like it was far enough away in the dark, and we couldn't hear it or just stop moving or whatever. And so then she was really freaked out. I got out of the tent, and we both hung out in her SUV for about 45 minutes and talked a little bit so she would calm down a little bit and listen to an episode of Sasquatch Chronicles. Thing to listen to right then, but
sure.
Yeah, so anyway, then she was not in favor of staying another night, which I really totally was, because hey, it worked. 3rd night, they're finally paying attention. Let's stay one more night. She's like, no. So that was the end of that expedition. Which brings us up to when I started going up there with Jeff and Travis and some of the other local guys. What do you got keyed up for pictures and stuff next? I'm forgetting at this point.
I got the menhirs pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of vantage points of those.
Yep, those pictures were taken on subsequent trips. I had made sure that I got more documentation of the area. And one of those, actually, if you Google image search Coloma, that picture comes up.
Oh, nice.
And I was actually trying to find information on Coloma and did a Google search on it, and my own damn picture came in.
Wow.
So
that's great.
This has not been documented enough. When I'm looking for information, my own picture comes up, and that's pretty much it.
Now,
like 3 other pictures.
Could you take a minute and discuss these menhirs, because I want people to understand the significance of this.
Well, first of all, they don't appear to be natural. There's other piles of standing stone or just big jumbles of rock piles around there. Which do appear to be more or less natural. This one doesn't look like it, and it shows clear signs of having the several of the stones on it at least worked at some point. And so, whether they were placed there or they were actually there originally and somebody modified them, need actual archaeologists to look at it and figure that one out. But when I was up there with Sunny a couple of weeks ago, I was showing her a spot where it looked like somebody was trying to wedge one of the rocks apart with another harder rock. They had dug a crevasse in and wedged it in there and then just abandoned the effort. Oh. So this thing could be tremendously old, because that looks like Stone Age technology. Right. When you start seeing that kind of stuff. And this is a mining town. They had mining tools. They didn't need to do primitive stuff like that.
Sure.
So that makes no sense in context of the miners being responsible for it. So my money is heavily on that was already there. Somebody else had something to do with it a long, long time ago.
Right.
And, yeah. And then I think I also included some pictures of old Coloma in there, just from like maybe 8, 10, 15 years ago, when some of the buildings were still standing that have just recently fallen down. There should be several pictures in there of that.
Sure.
To give you guys an idea on what it looked like even,
I got
turn of the millennium.
you got Travis pictures, him reaching up. Next,
Yep, he's at the menhirs, touching one of the menhirs.
yeah.
What's the next picture up?
The next one is his foot. Looks like we're looking for a footprint.
You're looking at a Bigfoot track, a fairly obvious one because I didn't circle it.
Yeah.
That was the first one that Travis found when he was up there. It's a pretty good sized one. And that's over by that creepy valley where the abandoned cabin is, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's what we think, too. That's why we kind of tend to stay away from that spot because they're just like over there too much. And
Yeah.
we get the impression they don't like it when you're over there, and we'll get to that toward the end of the show again.
Right, right.
There's also a picture of him standing next to the road holding his arm up.
Yes.
That's a tree snap, which gives you an idea on how high up it was. Yes, this could have been caused by a vehicle coming in. So they're not making any claims for sure that this was a Bigfoot. And let's see, there was one more picture of there. I can't think of what it was.
It's him by
Yeah.
the stones, his foot. Here's the picture of the structures as they were standing. I don't know when this was dated, but you can see many of the cabins, or a couple of cabins, are still upright. Are you there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, those pictures are all pretty much within the last 20 years.
Okay.
So
Yep.
the town has, if you would have been there 20 years ago, you would have seen half the town still standing. This is very recent that it's fallen to the point where there's only like one building still remaining. Even when I started going up there 5 years ago, there were still 3 or 4 of them standing up.
Was there? Oh man. Yeah, there was only one when I was there, and that's the image that I used for the promo. Was the one standing building left, and I hope is it still standing?
Yes, it is, Sonny. Just took a picture of it
Oh,
last
good.
2 weeks ago over there.
Good. Okay. Yeah, because that's a real neat. It gives you an idea of how small these houses were that these people lived in. It's like we are so coddled in our lives.
Yes.
They literally lived in these little sheds.
Little single room, yeah,
Yeah.
with a wood stove to warm it.
Yep. That was it.
Yep.
But you can get a definite idea of that, and the low ceilings. I mean, these were not tall structures. They were all pretty. I think the mayor's house looks like it was pretty big, though.
Yeah, he had like a story and a half that was made out of actual timber, not
Yes.
just made out of.
Yep.
But you got to think, he was the rich guy that could afford the heating bill or whatnot.
Yeah.
All the rest of these people, it's like you make the thickest walls you can, smallest interior space you can get away with.
Yes.
Because realistically, where these guys are at, you're going to be heating the place at least 9 months of the year.
Yes. Yep. And yeah, probably most nights, even all year.
Even during the summer, yeah.
Yeah.
So you want it to not be a gigantic space. When it's 30 below, you don't want a gigantic space to heat. Trust me.
Yeah. Now there's this one picture overlooking the valley with the really blue sky and the really green foliage and the bit of the cabin on the left margin. That's a beautiful sky, and that's what I remember a lot about being up there too. Is that, you're up on top of the world, but when you look down, there's nothing around. There is nothing around within eyeshot.
You can literally see the teeny tiny little pit stop in the road that's down at the base of the valley 7 miles away.
Yeah.
And that looks close to what compared to the stuff in the background.
Yeah. I mean, it's just literally an ocean of mountains with trees on them. So
Yeah.
when people,
the farthest horizon line there with the big mountains in the background,
yeah.
that's Idaho.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. I did not know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
That's like 30 miles away.
Yeah, and you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, and people nowadays like, well, I don't know how did they stay hidden. Well, look at their playground.
Yeah.
And these are all mature trees, that they're living in. It's like this is an ocean of trees. It's easy. I mean, you could hide Godzilla in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just to put it in perspective, most people don't even think of Montana as being much of a state with a lot of forests in it. They think like, Custer's Last Stand and the Badlands and all that kind of, the big ugly, the 2/3 of eastern Montana. Western Montana, first of all, Montana's gigantic. It's the 4th largest state. And western Montana, just that third of the state, has 52 mountain ranges and 24 million acres of forest.
Yeah, that's a lot of sticks. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Not 52 mountains, 52 mountain ranges.
That's incredible. And then the next picture is another older pictures of the cabins, or the mining huts or whatever. They still had a roof on them in these pictures too, and that's really interesting. Is that Are they sheet metal roofs, or what are the roofs on these structures?
I think most of them just had shake roofs on them, and
Okay.
it looked like a couple of the richer ones actually had roll roofing, which they had at the time. They didn't really have shingles; they had just kind of done the roll
Okay.
roofing thing.
Okay.
And that's, as a matter of fact, the one remaining still standing building. That's the virtue it has. It's kept it still standing.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And then we got a big X. in
Biggie X. Now we're up to more recent times here. This was, I think you're looking at, there's like a couple pictures, 2-3 pictures of an X there, and then some big tracks.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, these are Michael's pictures. Michael got these last summer. He went for a little side trip up to the Coloma and Garnett area with his family for a day trip. Took him up to the ghost town of Garnett. And, of course, being the squatcher that he is, he's like rubbernecking on both sides of the road while he's driving up there and back. And he sees this big X, and he goes, hey, wait, let me stop and document this, guys. Just hold on. And he pulls over, and he goes walking about 75 yards off the road to where he can see this X, and gets up there, starts taking pictures of it. And his family said, well, as soon as he left, they got this creepy feeling somebody was watching him and didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no sooner had he gotten up to where this X structure was, and he got the same feeling that somebody was watching him, wanting him to leave. And that was right about the time he found the 2 ginormous tracks on the ground that he took the picture of. Of course, not expecting to be actually doing any squatching or find much of anything. He didn't have his tape measure with him. And had he had it, I'm not sure he would have taken the time to put it down and take a picture anyway, because he really wanted to just snap a couple of pictures and get the bleep out of there,
Yeah.
which is what he ended up doing. But you can see by the outlines of the old tracks there why he was a little concerned
Yeah.
and wanted to leave the area, because whatever it was probably could have turned his car over pretty easily if it wanted to.
That's amazing. Wow.
And that's about 2 miles from Coloma.
That'll be in our
Yeah.
neck of the woods.
And judging by the 4 toes, we are looking at a mountain giant track there, basically. So.
Wow.
And Michael's shoe, for those of you that want to take a look at it and scale it at home, is 13 inches long. So that track is at least 2 feet long.
That's a lot of feet.
That's big, boy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow.
If they want you to leave, you should leave. So anyway, he discretion being the better part of suicide, he decided to make with the haste and get out of there.
Yeah.
My family was happy that he did. So that's those pictures. Again, this is only just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're right over there. And then what do we got up next, Picture Meister?
We got some lady that's red hair.
Okay, you missed Jeff's video.
Oh, I didn't miss it. Is that the eye shine one?
Yep, that's 2 years ago.
I'm all set to show that. I just have it pulled up in a different application.
Okay,
So-
well, let me lead everybody into it while you're getting ready to go here.
Okay.
What was happening is that we had a team of like 6 or 7 of us up there, and Jeff and Travis hadn't actually been up there with us before, and Jeff had his own little EM meter that he wanted to try out. And so we said, well, you should go up to the standing stones up there and do some, ghost research up there, and you'll probably get some kind of a hit up there. He said, okay. And so then right around 11:30, we reminded him, oh, you should go up there at midnight. That's the prime time to do this. You'll definitely get activity then. So they fortified with about 3 beers apiece. I think they each took a beer and put it in, each one of them had like 2 beers with them, and went up there, because it took a little fortifying with beer to get the courage up to go up there in the dark.
Sure.
And they had the dog with them. They're walking up the trail, and even up that trail, where the mud pit is there.
Yep.
And you go a little bit past it, and there's a turn in the trail. Well, right at that spot, all of a sudden, his dog Hank wouldn't follow him. He's like, come on, Hank. Why won't you follow me? What's going on? Come on. Hank wouldn't follow him. Well, in the process of this, one of them has the light, and Jeff's got his camera going. I think that was the light, had the light on it. And he sort of scans around. He goes past the cabin, and then he goes in front of him, and he goes off to his left-hand side behind him where the dog is. When he's going over toward the left, there's a Bigfoot standing right behind the tree watching him. You can see its eye shine as he goes past it with the light. And it's only for like a split second at regular speed, but if you slow it down, it's really obvious. And if you put it on super slow speed, you can even see one of the eyes blink when the light got close before it actually went over him. So, yeah, about 10 feet away from him. They did not see it. Jeff was not too happy to find out about it after the fact, when somebody else spotted it in the video, and then I pointed it out to him. Uh, he had one of those holy bleep moments for about an hour while he was watching it over and over again.
Wow. Well, let's check it out, and you guys can see just what we're talking about here. We're going to play this right now.
There's no sound on this one, so you can play it and comment while it's running.
Okay. Well, there is sound.
Oh, is there?
Yep.
It's all just slow motion.
Okay, so we're going to be watching on the left side here, ladies and gentlemen, right over here. Oh, yeah, there is that blink, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, so that's not like some shine off a leaf or anything. No wind was going on. There was no movement of the underbrush.
Right there, and the eyes. Quick blink. Oh, yeah. Wow. Right there. That's intense.
Come on. And it's got the right spacing and size on the eyeballs to conform to other examples of Bigfoot eye shine that we got from numerous researchers. So we're fairly certain that's what it was. There's really no other animals in that area that it could have been. It's wrong for a cow. It's wrong for a moose. It's wrong for a bear.
Yeah.
The eyes were at least 6 feet up, if not more. So, and it was standing in a pit too. That area it was standing in is about 2-3 feet deeper down than the road is.
Yeah, and there is a blink, like you say. I didn't notice that before. And watching it again, you can see it. It's just before they fully come into frame, they kind of disappear quick. Just a quick little stutter, and then they're back. So that is really something.
Yeah, they started to bring the light onto it one time, and then they started to bring the light away, and then they brought the light completely past it. And the first time they start to bring the light over, the one eye actually blinks like, oh, bright light too close.
Yeah. Wow. That's creepy. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Come on, Hank.
Okay. Yeah, that's an amazing piece of capture right there for sure. It's funny how
Yep, and again, this is one of these things where we did not find it. This happens a lot where we put something out and the spectacularly smart and observant viewers find it and then go, hey, Duke, look at time signature, blah, blah, blah. And I look at it and go, holy bleep, that's Bigfoot eye shine.
Yeah. And the takeaway for me is how subtle their presence can be. I mean, that they could be so close and yet you don't know it. They could be right next to you and you may not know it. And unless they're doing the stink thing, which I don't think they do very often, I think that they can be around a lot and you'll never know that they're there. Other than that, I think that a lot of people have that sixth sense. Like we know when we're being watched, and a lot of times anyway. They were 3 beers into it, so probably weren't really tuned in.
Well, they actually had ghost activity, I guess, when they got up there. They didn't have a ghost box or anything, but they were asking questions and watching the meter. And one of the hilarious things is when Jeff goes, is there anybody up here to talk to? Is there anything you guys need? And Travis goes, hey, does anybody want a beer? And he opens the beer and goes, psh! And right when he does that, the meter jumps.
Well, you can't blame him for that. I'm sure a cold one would come in handy after a few half century or so. Or
I haven't had a beer for a century. I'm thirsty. Yeah, I do want one. Give it to me, Travis.
Imagine you get rather parched.
They said the other thing while they were up there at the Stones, you know how where the tree line is from there, they kept hearing stuff in the tree line. And about every 4 or 5 minutes, he'd have to turn his mega flashlight on and hit the tree line with some light, and then the sounds would stop. And then he'd turn the flashlight off, and 4 or 5 minutes he'd start, and he'd have to repeat process all over again.
Yeah, that's something that I'm going to be looking into tomorrow, is getting a reasonably good flashlight that'll give me a sunburn if I leave it on too long.
Yeah, minimum 1,000 lumen.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I know how the darkness swallows up the little pocket flashlights. I went through that last year.
Even out at Cindy's place.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Even at when we were at Cindy Goodbreak's house, it's when it gets dark, those little pocket flashlights don't do a whole lot. I've got those, but I got to get me a serious flashlight.
Plus, if you got a Bigfoot sneaking up on you, you want to hit him with a light strong enough that whoever's on the camera can actually get an image.
Yeah, exactly. Which will be Don. Don will be on the camera.
Such as
Cameraman, done. You're good to go.
Yeah, such as it is. I mean, you
You're
know.
filming with a potato or something? You don't sound confident.
Well, you know, it's not exactly like, you know, a ghost hunting type camera. It's a, hey, let's go for a weekend and take some videos.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
We don't
We'll
have
figure something out.
I'm not a big believer in that it has to be pitch black. You got to be in infrared. I don't believe that at all. I think that, spiritual stuff happens all the time. I've had more activity in the daytime than I've had in nights. In fact, when Dan and I went up earlier on Saturday, when we were up there just after you guys left, we went up there and checked out the cemetery and then checked out the town. And we had a lot of amazing EVP stuff coming through on the Portal app. A woman crying, which is, again, not part of the database. But you can hear those sounds if you listen to the video in the investigations tab on our page. You'll hear a woman crying. That's not part of the sound bank. It's just a phonetic sound bank. There's lots of sounds coming through, growls that shouldn't have been there. And that was in broad daylight, and that was creepy enough.
MCAT's being funny. He says, Longbeard, Bigfoot bait. Nope. I didn't sign up for that one.
We're going to dip him in gravy and put him out there with a camera.
He's going to have a handful of bacon grease.
That's Cha-Cha's job.
Operation Human Bait. He's underway. We'll be standing back.
No, sadly, I'm the Bigfoot bait. They'll show up just to harass me, so nobody else was.
Well, all you
So
got
worried
to
about.
just lure them in front of the car so we can turn we'll strategically place the cars.
We're going to go full
Yeah.
mutual of Omaha on Duke. We'll be waiting here in the safety of the pickup truck as Duke wrestles the Yowie.
Nobody turn on a bloody torch until I got my hands on them.
No, it'll be a good time. I'm really, really looking forward to this. It's just really exciting because I've never wanted the Portal to just be a studio show. I wanted it to be a show about this as well as discussing it. And we've got the discussing down. Now we've got to get the researching out there. So this is part of what's going on this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And again, a special thank you to everybody out there who has helped by contributing to the show, even if it's just letting people know about the show. But any of you that have been able to donate as well, your donations have gone into making this possible. So thank you very much. And you guys have made this happen. So I just wanted to make sure to give a special thank you to all of you who have been a part of all of this. And we're going to make you a part of this weekend as well, because we're going to be streaming as much of it live as we can. So we keep watching for live streams on Friday and Saturday throughout the day. I don't know when, but we're going to keep at it and bring you guys along for as much of it as we can. So stay tuned for that on our channel. But yeah, Duke, do you think we'll take a quick break and we'll come back at it in a couple minutes here?
Sounds like a plan, buddy. I need to make a quick run to the old water closet myself.
All right, have a good time in the WC. We'll meet you back here in just a couple minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. More of the Paranormal Portal in just a couple minutes. We'll be right back.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me, and their lies keep falling apart. stupid toy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking ass. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Wow, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? We are cooking away the night. Hope you guys are having a good time listening to this. It's really an exciting time for us. We're going to be coming back to it in just a minute here, but lots going on. Obviously, these last couple of days have been pretty intense, just pulling things together and realizing I've got to find a lot of things before we go. You know what I'm saying, Don?
I sure do.
You sure do.
Yeah, because I'm scrambling to find a very specific cable that I haven't been able to find yet.
I know.
Apparently, I have to order it online and wait 4 months for it. So,
I think we'll probably get something on Friday when we pull into town. We'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll see. Hey, Duke, is there any camera shops like we could stop by on Friday to see if they've got cords or cables we need?
Oh, we got 2 Walmarts here if you just need patch cords and cables and
Nah,
stuff like
that ain't gonna work because the ones here don't even carry them. So, oh well.
They must have a photography.
There was a place called the Dark Room,
Oh, that might have it.
and there was another place. I don't know. So we'll find it. We'll find out. Maybe if I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm not a shutterbug, so I wouldn't know what camera shops are in town.
Shut it, bug. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess we're back at it here on the Paranormal Portal with our special guest tonight, Mr. Duke Sullivan of World Bigfoot Radio is joining us to discuss the countdown to Coloma, which is the investigation coming up this weekend. Don and I will be heading over to Montana on Friday, and we'll be investigating by Friday night, and then back at it most of the day Saturday. So it's going to be a hopefully a lot of fun. It's going to be hopefully a lot of incredible experiences as well. And one thing I can tell you is that this town is just so unique. Again, I don't have a lot of investigative experience, so I don't want to come across as somebody that's I've been everywhere and done everything. But even Dan said that it was the best time paranormal investigating he's ever had. Dan and I just talked, and he's like, I really wish I could be there. It's the best time I've ever had investigating, and he's been all over investigating. So I'm really excited to be able to bring that experience back to you guys out there and share it with you, as well as MCAT will be there and have that experience, and Cha-Cha and Titan as well.
Yep.
So we're gonna be representing up there for the portal, ladies and gentlemen, and World Bigfoot Radio will be represented up there as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I don't know, Duke. We still got a lot of ground to cover here. There was more pictures. Again, we're kind of there's a picture of a lady here, and I didn't catch her name in the images, but she's got red hair.
And that would be Sonny. Sonny was guest
Sonny.
on my show on episode 32.
Okay.
Idaho researcher surrounded by hunting Sasquatch.
Ooh. Oh, no.
She was out in a rookery area by herself.
Ooh.
Not a good idea. She had an AR-15 with her, but yeah, so what? You might as well have a pellet gun with you.
Wow.
And she's finding interesting things like, oh, look, they put in a stake. They're up there. They actually have a forestry was up there going through the area and laying out stakes for navigation, like this GPS coordinate, put a stake here, kind of stuff. Apparently the local Bigfoot didn't appreciate it because she found one of their big steel navigation stakes, that they drive like a couple feet into the ground. And it was bent over at a right angle, and right next to it was like an 18-inch track. It was pretty obvious who bent it over at a right angle. They were not appreciating the human presence there. And the episode she was on was like probably the most Where's Waldo episode I've ever done. Or we had, for 2 weeks, people were sending in screen captures from that thing all over the place where they were finding Bigfoot in the background watching her. And she took a picture over her shoulder because she felt something was behind her watching her. And she got a mama Bigfoot and 2 juvies sitting right next to the tree line watching her, probably about 35, 40 feet behind her.
Wow.
And she sent it into Thinker Thunker to take a look at, and he sent her back a message saying, yeah, there's 2 adults in the wood line behind them that you didn't notice.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So, yeah, she was in an incredibly dangerous situation, and I'm amazed she survived it, but she's kind of danger girl, and this kind of stuff happens to her. So anyway, that's her smiley face, and then the next picture is me and her, smiley faces. And then there's a picture of me that she took from a little further down the hill looking up in between the 2 standing stones, and I was up above it trying to see if there was anything else noticeable to take a look at. And after that, there's an interesting picture of a little pine tree. And what's interesting about the little pine tree is because it was tied into a knot.
Yeah, that's really freaky and weird.
And that was only about 20 feet from the standing stones off to the upper right side of it, in between 2 other little clumps of stone. And right in between those 2 little clumps of stone, there was this gigantically deep embedded track that you got 2 pictures of, one just the track and one the Sonny's foot next to it. And that thing was like 4 inches deep.
Wow.
Whatever took a step off that stone and stepped right there was very, very heavy.
No kidding, but it's not a lot bigger than their foot, though.
No, but tremendously heavier, obviously.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's not the kind of soil that turns muddy in the rain, right?
Yeah. No, you've been up there, brother.
Yeah,
you know what that is like. That's hard ground up there.
It is. That's what I was thinking. It's like, it's like a sandy, not necessarily sandy, but it's just a real hard pack. It's not like
honestly, when she found it and she pointed it out to me and I looked at it and I thought it was a dig mark. I thought a bear or something had stuck its paw in and dug out a chunk of ground.
Yeah,
but hey, there's no dirt behind it. That's an impression.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah, there should be a pretty good pile right there. On the heel of it.
But there isn't. That was just squashed into the ground by something that's really heavy.
Oh, that's really amazing.
And recently. So, yeah, she was kind of a little concerned about that. She's had negative experiences with Bigfoot before. And even being with me in an area that I usually go to, she was a little bit worried, and I don't blame her. Yeah. Especially since I know kind of experiences she's had before. Yeah, exactly. So we walked further up the hill. Now, you've been there before. If you go further up, you go over the crest of the hill, sort of off to your left a little bit is where that haunted shack is.
Yes.
But if you go up to the crest of the hill on your right, the hill sort of dead ends, and then it drops down back into forest again. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, as many times as we've been up there, we had never walked through that area.
Oh.
So I led the way over there to that edge of that hill, and she's got several pictures. She's got one picture when we're almost over there, looking back sort of in the direction of the men here. You can't see them, but that's what that one picture is.
Okay.
And then right there is where weird stuff started happening. She took this picture, and this is with a regular cell phone, and it's got like it turned into 4 frames or something. Like, what the heck happened to this picture? Yeah. And then she got several normal pictures, and then she got a really creepy one where there's this distortion right in the middle of the frame of the camera. Everything around it is nice and more or less clear and in focus. But right in the middle of it, there's this weird distortion where light's bending.
Right.
If you got that one up.
Is that the Predator one? Looks like the Predator to me, man.
Yeah. Well, and then there's pictures after it with outlines. And
sure,
stuff.
Yeah. But this is...
So you could see where the light's bending. That's just really weird, and you shouldn't be able to do that with a cell phone.
Right. Yeah. And then to have this is literally like 4 panels of change here
Right.
in this image, and really, the thing that struck me, Duke, when I saw this is the people that have talked, that I've interviewed, they've talked about these Bigfoot disappearing, and they always say, have you ever seen the movie Predator? It looks just like that. And for the life of me, I mean, I've seen Predator, but to conceptualize, can it look just like that? But to see this picture is like, Jesus, it really, I mean, if
Well, there's 2 weird anomalous pictures. There's the one where it looks like it split the screen into 4 sections, which makes no sense whatsoever.
yeah,
And then there's the other one where there's just the blur in the middle of it.
yeah,
And that one, I took and outlined the blur. I did an outline over the stationary part of the blur, and I did an outline over the moving part of the blur. And it seems to form a humanoid shape with an arm reaching out toward the person with the camera, which would be
Yeah.
Sonny.
that is really, really creepy. And it's very prismatic. It's got a real prismatic effect. Even as you've outlined it, the way the log breaks and reappears, and the stationary log to the very right comes into the prismatic effect and breaks, and then comes up to that motion blur, where it's like, I don't know, a multifaceted kind of prismatic look, which I'm assuming is the motion you're discussing. And it does. I mean, it really does look like.
Looks like something's walking by profile to her, going toward her right, and reaching out its arm toward her.
Yeah. It's
Kind of like this way.
right. Yeah. Yep. That is really incredibly disturbing. I've never seen a
The other
camera
disturbing
do
thing
this.
is I zoomed in on that picture and I found a face in the background that was also partially cloaked that I did a crop and outline on, so you can see what I'm looking at back there. You can basically see the top of its head and part of both of its eyes, and the rest of it's either behind foliage or partially cloaked out. But there's apparently multiple cloaking fields there too. Now, I passed this along to one of my friends that actually has some pretty highly developed psychic abilities, and some people can do certain things, other ones can do others, and this person can actually take a look at photographs, and they can see the signature in the photograph of an energy distortion, that there was something cloaked there, even though like regular people like me can't see it. They can see it.
Okay.
I can see the distortion where there's like everything's in focus, and then this part isn't. Well, that's a distortion. There's something wrong with that. But this person can literally see like the leftover energy signature on the picture that normal people can't see. And that's the person who draw all the circles in that picture, saying, here's a cloaked one, here's a cloaked one, here's a cloaked one, here's. Their guesstimate is there may have been as many as 7 of them standing there watching us. Now, she didn't see any of this stuff when she took the picture. She just had a weird feeling something was watching her from that direction, snapped the picture.
So you guys you didn't see any of that visual prisming at all.
Nope, the camera picked it up.
Wow.
All we had was creepy feeling something's watching.
That is so intense. Wow.
And then from there, she turned around, and I had started walking downhill because I went, hey, there's tree structures over here. We never knew there was tree structures. Look at, there's tree structures over here. And as soon as we started walking into that area with the tree structures, 2 weird things happened. First of all, she found a coin just lying on the surface.
Really? What was that?
1877.
Wow.
50 cents.
Oh my God.
And I mean lying on the surface. This was some pretty loose substrate. If you had dropped it from chest high, it would have made an indent in the ground. It was lying on top of the pine needles and everything else. No indentation whatsoever, just on the surface, right where she was. So that was very creepy. And then she picked that up and was looking at it, walked about 10 feet, and all of a sudden she got hit with a wave of nausea. She had to sit down on a rock. Felt like she was going to vomit. I'm thinking she might have got zapped. But in between when she took the picture of the cloak, whatever it was, and she got zapped, she snapped all those other pictures of the tree structures that we got in that area. And then we proceeded straight down into the valley, took a right, and went back to the vehicle. And while I was trying to get back to the vehicle, something slammed the side of the vehicle. And I assumed there was somebody else over there messing with the truck. So I hustled over there as fast as I could, and there was nobody there.
Wow.
And I came back to make sure she was still coming along, and got back to the vehicle. And now there's some interesting looking dents on the driver's side door that hadn't been there before. That may have been caused by whatever decided to do that. But yeah, don't know, didn't see it, wasn't any humans around there. Maybe encouraging us to get her out of there. Maybe they didn't like her being there for some reason. They didn't zap me, they zapped her. So.
Well, she did pick up the coin, though, right?
Yep.
So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah. And when she picked it up, she got an impression of a woman's face smiling at her. And she said the woman looked like she was like part native, like maybe part Eskimo.
Huh.
And she just had a big grin on her face. She said like there was something about her. She looked like maybe part Chinese, part Indian.
Okay.
Something like that. She couldn't really classify what mixture of ethnicity she was, but she said she had just a big smile on her face, like she was happy that somebody had found this coin.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, this is this is a hell of a journey, and this is where we'll be.
Yeah, if you guys want to stay tuned for some epic live streaming, anything could happen. And let's not leave out the part about last year when we were there and things happened, and you got to go for a little trot in the woods in the middle of the night, and you almost saw Glag. The reason you didn't is because you didn't bring your damn glasses with.
What?
Yeah. That's Kevin. Kevin was there,
Right.
and he said that Glag was there, and he wanted me to see it. I had just gotten done walking all over. I was just exhausted. My glasses, my eyes were hurting, so I just took them off and put them in the truck, and I was just sitting on the tailgate, and Kevin's like, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" I'm like, "Sure." He goes, "Yeah, I'd like to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know what was going on, and we walked down the path towards the menhirs, the dolmens, and we stopped, and suddenly he goes, "Yeah, he's here." And I was like, "Really?" And he said he wouldn't come in close, but he wanted me to have an opportunity because
Wow.
he was grateful for being on the show and stuff. And
Wow.
I looked and I wasn't able to see much anything. Everything was blurry.
Right.
But I did what I can tell you is that the air was electric. The air was electric. And I did see what I believe were some shadow movements up higher. I don't know, though. Again, I didn't have my glasses on. Nothing that I can see. Yes, absolutely, this is what I saw. But
Right.
I did experience something profound energetically. I really think that's it was a hell of a blessing, I guess.
Wow.
But yeah,
You didn't tell me about that.
well, I didn't want to be the one because first of all, Kevin didn't want anyone talking about it at the time.
Right.
So I had to honor that. And,
Right.
And
But I'm not just anyone.
No, you're not. But that's true. But anyway,
Well, it was 6 months after it happened before we mentioned it publicly, and part of the reason was to make sure that Glag wasn't in the area
Right.
when we told the story. So.
yeah. No, but it was a really cool experience. I only would have wished that I had my glasses because I maybe could have actually seen him. But the air was electric. It was a really bizarre feeling, and I don't know. It was neat, and I really appreciated Kevin wanting to give that to me, because that really meant a lot. And I cared about him a lot, but I can't say I knew Kevin real well. But it was just such a sincere, loving guy.
Right.
And the world's definitely a darker place without him. But it was.
He's one of those people where he comes across as like so straightforward and nice and honest that it's hard to believe that it's for real
Right.
Mhm.
until you actually meet him.
Yes,
And then he's
exactly.
actually like nicer than he puts on.
And he's about the most sincere guy I've ever known. I mean, he and I would talk on the phone, and it was just this kindness and down to earth, and you could tell that if you knew Kevin for 5 minutes, you knew Kevin. He wasn't the guy that wore masks and pretended anything. He was just who he was. And I really respected that, that there wasn't any duplicity. There wasn't, a bunch of putting on airs of anything. He was just who he was, and he made no apologies for it. And I really liked that about him.
Well, there's no end game there either. I mean, he
Yeah.
wasn't making any money off it. He was just having fun going out and doing his live streams in the areas that he knew Bigfoot were in, because generally there'd be one of them on camera, or you'd see eye shine, or some weird thing would happen. You know, you've seen some of the screen captures from some of his live videos, like the Squatch lit up in the tree, and Alex following him around and some of that stuff. So.
Yeah, it was incredible. And Kevin did find a lot of weirdness, like that tree dragged into his yard when there's no
the one that
trees.
was thrown up like 30 feet.
Well, that was the
stumps. Trees decorated with stumps thrown up in the branches.
Like 500-pound stumps lobbed up into the branches with soil still on them. I mean, they had something really incredible going on. So there's no question in my mind he's the real thing. He's the real deal.
He proved it when he got up here too. He managed to find a tree structure that none of us have found in all the years we've been wandering around up here. And generally you don't find the uprooted, upside down, crammed in, topside down trees sort of thing like you get up in Alaska and stuff. That's pretty rare. He found an X structure where both sides were upside down with balls up.
Wow.
About 35 feet tall.
That's amazing. No, I didn't know those were down here either. I'd heard of them.
That really irritated me because I wanted to find one of them. Somebody even told me where there was one nearby that they couldn't relocate again. They're trying to find it again because they stumbled on it at one point. And I'm like, I got to find one of these upside down tree things. It's the only structure I haven't found yet. And leave it to Kevin to come up 1,700 miles ago. Oh, there's one right there, Duke. Yeah, this one's an X structure too. I'm like,
Yeah, he's just a wonderful soul. I just always hope he's in a wonderful place. I have no doubt he's in a wonderful place now. I mean, he was the real
probably listening in on the show right now.
Absolutely. I hope he is, and I hope he's smiling at us and laughing at us. But yeah, it's incredible. This is a supercharged area, ladies and gentlemen. There's hauntings, there's ghost stuff going like crazy. And Bigfoot is known to be in the area, so it really, when Duke said anything could happen, it really could. It's like the perfect storm for the paranormal up on Coloma, and hopefully we can catch some stuff and bring it to you guys. But again, we are going to be streaming this live as much as we can. As long as my batteries last, I'll be bringing it to you guys. We've got some new tools and things we'll be utilizing as well this time around. And hopefully I know we'll have a blast. That's no question, but it's just going to be so great to come back,
one thing we should do, because I'm guessing that you can probably get enough signal to live stream from that exact spot, is go to the exact spot where you got the peaker behind the big rock pile and live stream from there while one of us gets into position and sees if we can mimic that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. We're going to try that, try to line that up as perfectly as we can. I know exactly where I was.
What day was that you caught that peaker? So it was the second day?
Yeah, and Duke and his team were already gone. They already moved to a different location, so it was just Dan and I up on that mountain alone. There wasn't even traffic driving in the area, and this isn't an area that people just randomly hike. It's kind of out there,
right.
and the big draw is Garnett. So if people are coming into the area, they're going to Garnett. That's the touristy place.
Most of the tourists coming through don't even know Coloma exists, and it's not really like marked or anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't got OnStar or something telling you you're now going past Coloma, you have no clue it's there.
Yeah.
There's just a one-lane rutted dirt road going off to your left, and that's it. Until you get in it, then you see a sign that says Coloma.
Yeah, and and you're going to go over this hump, and then you go down, and on the other side, it's just all of a sudden you'll see ruins of these cabins all over the place. It's just really crazy.
So again, what was the weather supposed to be like this week, Duke? Or this weekend?
We have exactly the weather that I ordered. It's supposed to be in the 80s during the day and cooler at night and no precipitation. And best of all, we don't have any fire season. So that means when you get on top of that mountain and you want to take a picture 35 miles away, you can see 35 miles away.
Yeah, it's really, really incredible. The scenery up there was, I think, one of the things I got the most comments on when I streamed it last year. People just, all these statements like, oh my God, it's so beautiful up there. It's so beautiful. It really is. It's really beautiful, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, that's why that Bigfoot took it over. They like that prime real estate. If you notice wherever there seems to be like a lot of Bigfoot hanging around, most of those places are like pristine, gorgeous, and beautiful. There's a strong correlation there.
Yeah, I'll bet. It's well, they're
Bigfoot
definitely.
like their pristine wilderness.
So you think that thing that shadow ducking down is pretty significantly big, though? Huh?
Part of the reason why I think so is because the backside of that, keep in mind, this is a rock pile. This is like rubble. It's not solid. If you stand on top of it, rocks will move and go down both sides and make a racket.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way something could have been standing there and not making a racket is if it was actually on the little embankment. And we'll film that when we go over there this year. That little embankment is a good 8 feet down from the crest of that rock pile.
Oh, wow.
So unless it was standing on that slope, which you probably would have heard it, that means it was really, really tall.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it closely, that it's hard to tell because it's so far away, pixelation, not good image, clear or anything, but it looks like a head and part of a shoulder is all that's in there that's ducking down or just moving to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
So that would be about right. But we're going to see if you get a person. I mean, you might literally have to hold on to one of those tree trunks to not slide down the rock pile behind it. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Hey, can you play that video of the tree peeker that Duke redid for you?
Yeah, we can definitely put that up. I just gotta
find
it. Yeah,
now.
you can play the music on it too. You don't have to worry about getting in that trouble for that.
Oh, is that Swamp Ritual?
No, it's a public domain.
Oh,
contact.
cool.
Yeah, I keep getting spanked even if I use public domain stuff, but let me find it here. I got
geez, they would spank me for it first.
Well, not if I'm broadcasting it. Hold on, I almost got it here. I think here it is. Yep. Let me open this in a new tab, and we'll play it, ladies and gentlemen. And again, we played this on the last show, but we'll play it again. Hold on. It was this is Duke's handiwork.
On what last show?
On the last show that we did.
Sunday.
No, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
I missed that? Okay, I missed it.
You missed most shows, Don.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so.
All right, so.
Only the good ones, Don.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play it. I'm going to turn the volume down, though. We'll go with that. But
yeah, you should just do a voiceover. You're right there filming it. You can do as good a breakdown as anybody on that thing.
Okay, so here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put it on full screen. And again, this is the anomaly. I just found this when I was piecing together one of the videos that you're going to see on our investigations playlist on our YouTube channel. But I was going through some footage, and I just happened to be looking at it, and all of a sudden, I don't know, it was because it was silhouetted against the sky that I was able to see this change. And it's like, boom, oh, I see something. What's going on? Started slowing it down, backing it up, and going forward, and I'm like, oh, my God. Something's ducking down up there. So this is the video segment that we're discussing right now. And this is from my footage when it was just Dan and I alone up there and nobody else was around. So it was just he and I.
And Glag and his kid.
Yeah. Well, there's that. There's that. So, and Duke was kind enough to go through this and slow it down, and here I am. The truck is behind me. I'm panning around. That's a tailings pile up in the distance, and I'm pointing at the screen like you guys can see that. Yeah, I'm brilliant.
I found it very helpful.
Thank you, Don. So, and it's just really subtle, but it's definitely there. And once you slow it down and look at it, I'm going to use my mouse to indicate where you need to focus. It's going to be right over here, right here. That shadow. Watch that. Yeah, it just disappears. Boom, done. Now it's gone. So it's really crazy stuff. I just, for the life of me, I watched that about 50 times. I'm like, no way. I actually caught something here. Here, again, right here is your area of focus. Frame by frame. And you'll see that it sinks down and just kind of disappears behind the tree there, or behind the horizon. And there, it's pretty much gone. Boom. It's just that subtle. That's just how subtle it is. I'm going to go back to where we're playing at full speed here again. All right. So, whoops, I just missed it, didn't I? Okay, a little too far. All right, so, again, now you know where to look. Watch it in real time. Boom. You see that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so profound. It's just so profound, especially in real time. I find that the most impressive. So that's the part that really jumps out to me, like, oh my God. And there, boom, there it goes. I mean, something's up there,
No doubt there.
right? Right? Though, I mean, that's a, you know, I don't know how I managed to see that, but I did. And there it is. I mean, it's there, and then, boom, there it goes, down. I mean, that's a profound dip right there. So I was really proud that I caught that, but it was just by, the only reason I caught it is because it was silhouetted against the sky. It was just such a blatant thing there. Duke, are you still with us? Did we lose the Duke? Uh-oh. We might have lost the Duke, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
We might have. Did we still connected? Are we still there? Yeah, we're still here.
There's
Okay.
a call on the board.
Oh, Duke's
there
there.
he is.
All right. You there, Duke?
I was just in the other room watching the video. Sorry.
Oh.
Oh, no worries. No worries at all. Okay. Let me crank up the volume here again. But, yeah, we do have a call on the board here, so let's see who's calling us.
Probably,
What's that?
probably Michael.
Oh, unless he's from Arizona. All right. Area code 480, you're on the air.
Hi, Brent. Hi, Don. Hi, Duke. Duke.
Hey, Jess.
This is Jess.
Yes, it is. How you doing tonight?
Hey,
So how was your 4th of July, guys?
Oh, dandy.
Yeah, sat at home.
I watched fireworks, so it was, I had a lot of fun.
Did you go downtown?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
I had to go. I went out in my front yard and saw fireworks. So there was fireworks in the neighborhood. So
You can't beat the commute, huh?
exactly. What about you, Duke?
right there with you. I just walked out on my back porch, which is on the second floor, and the city fireworks display was happening 3 blocks away. Been out
There
for
you go.
45 minutes. I got to tell you, though, the locals who did their illegal fireworks display completely drowned them out.
Probably.
I'm not kidding. They started like an hour before the actual fireworks display, so it wasn't even completely dark yet. And they were already blowing
wow.
up. And they had mortar tubes. They're running out in the street, firing off 4 or 5 rounds, and then run back in the house and hide the mortar tube, and then come back out like 10 minutes later and do it again. And this is going on all around town. I was only 3 blocks away from where they do the main fireworks display, which is fairly impressive. And it's right over the parking lot of the mall, so that they, any fallout isn't going to set anything on fire because it's all blacktopped.
Right.
And that's where everybody sits and watches it. Well, I'm 3 blocks away from this, and first of all, I can barely see it because all the stuff in between that's going off is blocking it out. And secondly, the only way I knew that the fireworks display even ended is because I could hear the crowd cheering. But the rest of the valley continued to thunder away for another 3 frickin' hours, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning before the smoke cloud cleared, and you could see the mountains.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, it became the Smoky Mountains for one night anyway. You got a 7 by 5 foot mile-long valley that was completely filled with, gunpowder smoke. It sounded like Beirut here for about 4.5 hours. I was trying to talk to somebody on the phone. They couldn't hear me because all the explosions and stuff in the background. They're like, "What's going on over there?" Fireworks, apparently. Keep in mind,
I'm surprised you didn't hear the fireworks from Mount Rushmore when they had that celebration the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is kind of not supposed to happen because, first of all, they did have a city fireworks display, and secondly, it's illegal to fire off fireworks inside the city unless you got a permit and you're doing the city fireworks display.
Yeah.
So the fact that everybody in the city was out doing the city's fireworks display and not giving a rip and all at the same time was kind of impressive.
That's how
the
we
city
roll.
let her rip. But anyways, I wanted to compliment you on those photos. Those were pretty cool. And the video is pretty cool of what you're showing here.
When the Duke comes on the show, he brings a full saddle. The saddlebags are packed.
Oh, yeah. I can see back in the saddle. And question, did you ever talk to Glad, Duke?
I did not get a chance to talk to. Well, he ain't dead yet. It still might happen, but no, I have not had a chance to meet, see, or talk to Glegg.
Huh. I'm surprised because I thought Kevin would introduce you to him.
He tried, but a couple of tag-alongs decided to come with us at the same time, and Glegg wouldn't come out in the open.
Oh, I see.
Yep. So bad timing there, and that may have nixed my only chance to ever meet him. This is actually during the day. I would have been able to see him really good.
Wow.
Even with my lousy vision. So yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was an incredible experience, though. But yeah. So how, Jess?
I felt his presence there the night before, Jess. Just to let you know, I didn't get to see him, but the night before we pulled up there and we dropped off gear because we didn't have enough room in the vehicle to haul all the people and all the gear. So we just showed up and put all the gear in one of the abandoned, fallen down log cabins. And while we were there, we could feel the presence of a Bigfoot there watching us. And Kevin didn't realize until we got back the next day it wasn't a Bigfoot, it was Glegg.
Wow.
So he was there the night before we even showed up.
And I question how Swamp Ritual doing.
They're actually working on their third album right now. It's going to be a lot longer than their regular ones are, like close to an hour, and they're going to have shorter length songs. So instead of like 5 or 6 15-minute songs, you're going to get about like 10 5-minute songs.
Oh, did they finally get on a major label or?
No, they're just putting their own stuff out.
Oh, okay.
No, but this is the epic third album, and as you know, like every totally awesome band, their best album ever is always their third album. So this should be great. Looking forward to it. That's when they hit their stride.
Yeah, they are pretty awesome. Thanks for introducing him to me. They're really awesome.
Well, there's not many two-piece bands I can get excited about, so it's always kind of fun when you can find one, especially in your backyard,
Yeah.
Yeah, they are awesome.
Well,
I hope you've told them about me.
We warned them.
I'm trying to get those guys to show up to Coloma this weekend. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I'm trying.
Oh, there you go.
Well, thanks for calling in, Jess. It's great to hear from you.
And thanks for letting me talk to Duke. And
for sure.
I'm glad you guys had a good 4th of July too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I hope yours was wonderful as well. And we will talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Good
Peace
night.
out and hi to everybody in the chat. Bye.
See you now.
Hi, Jess.
All right. So what do we got left? We got about 20 minutes left. So we still got some road to cover here. Let's see, where are we going now? We made it through the pictures, right?
I think we got through everything. There was a couple other pictures of general tracks around Coloma that Michael found that we may have skipped over, but other than that, I think we got through everything.
Yeah,
you could spend some more time looking at those tree structures that we found, and keep in mind that those structures are probably not more than 100 yards from where we've been camping for the last 5 years. We had never been through that little patch of woods and found them. They've been there a long time.
That's really interesting. I mean, you can see these logs are all bleached out, and the X with the white, like the barked X with the whiter logs on top. I don't know. It just seems really bizarre. I guess what I find fascinating is the fact that as many times as you guys been up there, that was the one piece of ground you'd never gone into, and it's almost like maybe you weren't supposed to, or you know what I mean?
Well, exactly, and that's the impression we've got every time that we were up there. That's like that little chunk of woods, don't go in there. And then, the spooky valley that's got the abandoned hunting shack in. We don't like that area either. That gives off a bad vibe. And we've had several times we've tried to go around through that little valley and up that road to where that cabin is. And you can smell a friggin' Bigfoot in that woods over there on your left-hand side as you're going around it.
Yeah.
And that's just really creepy.
Yeah, that is really creepy. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch that video when Dan and I checked it out, there was one part that I nearly pooped myself, and that was I was literally. It was one of those feelings that my heart was already nearly jumping out my throat anyway, but then suddenly there was this weird sound that came up, and it sounded exactly like something was running on the road towards me. It was like, and it kept getting louder. And I was like, and Dan goes, is someone running out there? And then it just dawned on me, like, "Grr." I'm the guy in the, the doorway.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm out there.
Yeah, that's me. Wait, my head whipped around. I'm looking. I don't see anybody. I'm like, no. And I look up, and it was a flock of these birds, and they had the loudest damn wings. They were only about 50 feet above the roof of the hunting shack, but it was that they had the loudest damn wings, and together it sounded like they were just beating in unison. And it sounded exactly like someone was running up on me from behind me. It was the creepiest damn feeling. I thought for sure I was going to whip around and see something huge coming at me. It was just terrifying. Oh, God. I was never so happy to see birds in my life. I just need to say that was the happiest thing ever, to turn around and just see birds. Like, oh, it's just birds. Jesus. Oh, God. I just wanted to crawl out of my skin. But other than that, it was... it was, as much as, I'm talking about the tension in the air, there seems to always be this tension in the air up there. I think it was, again, I got to agree with you, because over in that hunting lodge area, the cabin or whatever, the hunting shack, in that area, it just feels wrong. And that's the best way I can say it. The town proper doesn't feel as creepy. To me, it just feels like, I don't know, like there was probably good people there, and it didn't leave just this horrible imprint. I think there's some tragedy that happened there for sure, but I don't know, something about that shack area that just feels just opposite of good, is all I can say.
Totally agree with you. And everybody I know that's gone up there, and we're camping out there during the day, people wander off by themselves, and most of them have at one time or another walked up that little valley to that creepy hunting shack by themselves. Ugh. And then pretty much immediately come back down again and went, I don't like that place. It does that to everybody. Everybody that's been up there, it gets that reaction to it.
Yeah.
So we give it wide berth. And then across the valley from there on the other side where the lightning blasted tree and another entrance to the mine is, that area we haven't gone and looked at either, and that's one of the things we're going to do this weekend.
Oh, are you really?
Go kind of do a search up into that area.
Oh,
because there's another access road that goes off from Coloma in that direction that we haven't actually even explored yet.
That's where I felt like I was being watched from that road.
Yeah, that's kind of where Glag and Clan were hanging out the whole weekend while we were there.
Okay.
They were across the valley over there on that other ridge line.
Oh,
higher up watching us from above, like they like to do that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was just, I always felt the heaviness of being watched from there. The cabin, I just felt the whole place was just wrong.
Right.
But from that other side over there, but you're going to go up there and check that out. That's brave.
Did you guys do any like poking around, like whatever was underneath the wood stove? Did you ever like poke through it and see if it was like a dead animal or something?
No, that was the bottom of the wood stove is rotted out.
So it's just the ashes that were in there.
Yeah, it was just the remnants of a log, and it was like a steel barrel kind of stove.
Right.
And it just rusted through and collapsed.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Because I'm sure they probably put it out with water, every time they were leaving. They just probably doused it with water and made it a good, rust haven.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
or it sat there vacant so long that there was water dripping down the chimney and rotted the bottom out.
And that's a curious thing to me too, Duke, is like, so there's this structure that's sitting there, and it's obviously not as old as the Coloma, so it's probably sometime from the 70s or 60s is, I guess, what it feels like, or 50s maybe, but it's still there. Is that private land or is that public land, or do you have any idea?
That whole area is quasi. Actually, you could probably check in and see if anybody actually owns that little chunk of land. But I get the impression that it's only been there since the 90s. I don't think it's been there nearly that long.
Oh.
The construction, being that I used to do lots of building, the construction isn't right for the 60s, 70s, or even into the early 80s. Huh. So that shack had to have been fabricated after that, and either hauled into position or made there, and I'm guessing hauled into position.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if I included it. I think I did. There's a picture of one of the fallen down houses there right on the edge of the huge open area where you can see it out into the valley. And it's just like three timbers, and it's got a Twite Realty sign on it.
Yes, it says.
So like you're going to sell a fallen down log cabin on a realty, right? So I got this. This was like in 2016 when that thing was up there. And I ran into one of the locals during the few days that we were there and asked them about it. They knew all about it and said, oh, yeah, they're actually selling this little parcel over here that's adjacent to Coloma, but you can't build on it. And since it's partially connected to Coloma, you don't have any mineral rights. You can't take anything out of the ground. It's still considered an archaeological dig. So really, you can own the property, but the only thing it's good for is like camping on and hunting.
Oh, because now when we were up there in that location, I'm assuming that's right at the bottom of the rise that goes up to the stones, the menhirs.
Yeah, that's right before you go out into the open on your left-hand side is where that is.
Right, but I think when we were up there, it's no trespassing sign was there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Could be.
Okay. Yeah.
The only other place up there that I know that anybody has got any kind of actual use going on, is where they park their little fire trailer on years when they need it. When there's fire danger, they actually park that fire trailer up there.
Oh.
And other years, they usually don't even have it up there. Like this year, it probably won't be up there.
Oh, okay.
But that's the only thing it's like, and the only time it's getting used is if there's actual fires in the area going on. They need to be up there. Other than that, it just sits there locked up all year long.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's a strange area. It's just been lost to time. It's got this unknown history. There's unknown stories that those hills hold, I'm sure, but this
and the little people. We didn't even mention the little people yet, except in passing at the beginning of the show.
Nah,
and I was not sure about that either until that 2016 when I was there with Researcher X. Second day, she was all worn out because she's sea level girl, and this is a mile up. So she had to take a nap, so did the dog. The dog was like more tired than she was. And so I decided that since I had found that ramp going down the base of the cliff that was all overgrown with trees, I'd go down there and see what was down there. So I walked down there myself, got down to the base, and I found all the big dirt piles about 8 feet high that they had piled from out of the mine down there, and now grown up with trees and pretty much covered with grass and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So very interesting landscape. You've got these 5 or 6 foot deep pits and 8 foot humps covered with trees everywhere. So you want to talk about an awesome place to get ambushed from? There could be an army there within arm's reach of you, you wouldn't see them.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that kind of made me a little bit paranoid, and I'm like, well, most of these humps are kind of too small to hide a full-size Bigfoot anyway, so not that big a deal. So I lit up a cigarette, and I'm kind of looking. Well, the hump that I'm standing on, the top of it isn't completely covered with grass. It's still got a patch of dirt on it, like about 2.5 feet across and maybe 4 or 5 feet long. Mm-hmm. And running diagonally across it, there's 3 little footprints that are about 3.5, 4 inches long and look like moccasin tracks.
Uh-oh.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And I didn't have my camera with, and nobody was with me. Researcher X didn't know where I wandered off to. She was sleeping. So I just went, okay, I'm going back to the top of the cliff now. Sorry, guys. and I got the hell out of there. That was super scary because I got the feeling they were actually like in those little pits near me watching, waiting to see if I was going to go any further down or not.
Oh.
They left tracks right there, and as soon as I saw the tracks, I'm like, okay, I got the hit. Bye.
So again, I told you, and I haven't dug up the footage yet. It's on my to-do list. Maybe I'll get to it tomorrow. But when Dan and I were there on Saturday, down in that little valley. So if you come down the rise from being up at those rocks, you end up at those wrecked cabins on the right-hand side as you walk back towards the camping. It was in between those wrecked cabins. There's kind of like I don't know, a holler or a little ravine going down. And it was
there's like a little saddle there in between where 2 of the cabins are.
Right. So it was in there in the woods back there that I caught a flash of looked like a red cone. And for the life of me, I don't know what would be down there that would be red, but automatically when you're talking about little people, I'm thinking red caps.
We'll have to go find out in a couple of days. And let me remind you that video that we showed earlier of the eye shine is at the lower of those 2 houses between the saddle.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. And that's about where that same area was, that it would be back into the woods more to, as he's walking, filming that, it would be more to his left, like directly left from there down into that ravine area. And it was,
I've walked around the edge of that, and beyond that little saddle in there, it's steep drop off. It's wooded, but man, it's not easy to walk back there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to comb through that footage again. See if I can find exactly where that is. I know I queued it up a few times, but then got sidetracked. So I haven't gone frame by frame to see if I can figure out where it is. But if I do, I'll give you a screen grab and you can look at it and see what you think. But that's why I asked you. I was like, did people used to dump stuff down there? I think is that what I asked you. Like, was there ever garbage dumped down there or whatever? Because I couldn't figure out why is there a red, like cone shape down there. But
Well, I'll tell you another thing now. You got the red cone shape there. You've got the Bigfoot eye shine there. And we know because we went around it and seen it from the side, if you go straight down the edge of the mountain from there, there's another entrance to the mine down there.
oh, okay, wow. Well,
Yeah,
might
more
be-
creepy confirmation maybe.
as if we needed more.
As if we needed more. Everywhere there's entrances, they seem to be showing up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much to discover. There's so much to look into. Unfortunately, I don't think 2 days is going to be even near enough to do a whole lot. But hopefully, everybody has a good time that's coming. And I hope all of you out there will be watching with us and be a part of the experience as much as you can be. Again, I don't have a schedule, so I can't say, hey guys, I'm going to be streaming at this time and this time and this time. I don't know when.
Our
I'll
schedule
stream.
is when we get around to it.
Yeah, we're
Start watching mid-afternoon,
Yeah.
guys. That's when he's going to start streaming.
yeah, exactly. It's going to be mid-afternoon and then into the evening, of course. We're going to do it as much as we can. But we'll be working on that and bring you, all of you who haven't been able to make the trip, at least bring you into the experience as much as we can. Now, as you're watching this and as you're listening, please be a part of the investigation. If you're hearing things when we're doing, like the Portal app, when we're doing that, a lot of people piped in on the footage and on the stream last time and told me a lot of things that were going on that I didn't catch being there. And when you're in the moment and you're there, it's hard to be, as objective to listening to what's going on because, my head was on a swivel most of the time I was
Yeah,
there.
you're busy looking behind your
Yeah,
back all
I
the
was
time. not paying
literally,
attention.
it's just there's such a tension when we were alone there, and I'm really excited about going this time because there's going to be more people, so I think I'll be able to throw myself into it more. But you guys can be a part of that by listening, and when you hear things, hear responses and stuff, please let us know because it'll really help us in the wrap up and in tying all this back together when we're done to go over that footage and go over it with your notes as well. And hopefully we just come up with a lot of great stuff to bring, to put together a best of Coloma episode. So
Couldn't agree more. It's the same thing with my channel. Some of the coolest stuff that we've caught has been found by just the viewers after the videos actually come out. They find it and go, hey, Duke, what's this? Then I look at it and go, holy bleep, how did that get past us? And it gets past us pretty frequently.
yeah,
When I'm processing these videos and stuff, oftentimes the actual image that I'm looking at is like 2 inches across. So I'm not going to see everything
Right.
that's in it like you're going to see on a 56-inch big screen or something.
right.
So again, that's really important, man. We really appreciate it. The people that have the patience and time to go through and look at this stuff and then actually find things, man, that's awesome because it takes a lot of time to go out and do all the research and put all the stuff together and then sit there and watch it over and over again. No. We just don't have time to do it. And this happens with a lot of other Bigfoot researchers and stuff too.
Yep.
People watch their shows and they find stuff in there that the people that were filming didn't even realize was happening while they were doing it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Very, very incredible stuff going on. And, it's going to be a great time. So, again, thank you to all of you who have contributed to bringing us to this point. It's the kindness and the generosity of all you guys out there that make this possible. And including those of you that are just, again, watching, spreading the word, becoming a part of the show as much as you can. You guys have made all this possible. You've made it happen up to this point, and we'll be looking forward to your continued involvement. And maybe we'll do more of these things. This is kind of a maiden voyage for us in many ways. I'd love to go have us visit different locations, and maybe it'll be in your neck of the woods, and you can join us. It's just a great opportunity to get together, meet people, and just see what we can find. This is a journey for all of us, and I'm glad you guys are on it with us, and thank you all so much. Don, what's your thoughts? This is your first time going. What are you thinking?
Well, now that you mentioned it's my first time,
Yeah.
Purge it.
I think I'll bring protection, maybe a 9mm.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring something that'll actually do damage.
Well, I got a 30-06. You know, they used to be sniper rifles, so you know.
Getting
whatever.
closer, getting closer. Those are made for human-sized targets.
Well, I got 3 bullets and pretty good center mass. You know.
Save the
clarity.
last one for yourself.
So, but no, I'm looking forward to it. You know, like you said, I haven't been there yet. You know, it's going to be 3 days of, well, it's going to be a half day of driving and 2.5 days of, and then a half day of driving back.
Yep.
But you know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really. I told everybody at work. I said, you know what? I'm not coming in. Don't even think about it. I'm turning my phone off. Forget it.
Unfortunately, unless you've got Verizon for a carrier, they can't get a hold of you there anyway, so don't worry.
Unfortunately, I do have Verizon for a carrier.
Damn it!
Yeah, exactly.
I had to have it. I was lost in North Dakota one time,
Oh, God.
and I had AT&T at the time,
Oh, God.
and I was lost. Did I mention I was lost?
Yeah. Did you end up having to wait for a prairie schooner caravan to go on?
Well, I had to wait. I had to wait for the people to figure out why my GPS wasn't working in the truck I was driving, because it wasn't working because it wasn't Verizon either. So, needless to say, the next week I had a Verizon phone with a Verizon GPS. So that's why. But you know, I'm excited to get there. You know, I've been waiting for this. It'll be like my only first real vacation in the last 5 years. You know.
Sure. Well, you have a strange idea of vacation, Don.
Yeah, you know, Hilton Garden at
Man,
night.
This is way better than going down to Bermuda and sitting on a beach or something.
I don't know about that.
Well, wait until you get there. The weather's going to be perfect. There's no skeeters. There's beautiful scenery. There's no annoying tourists to bug you. There's definitely no annoying tourists to bug you. They won't be showing up after dark. I'll guarantee you that.
You forgot Cha-Cha's coming. She's from California.
Ooh.
You know, talk tourist. She's talking about she doesn't want to break a heel out in the wilderness.
She's obviously
Oh, that easy enough by not wearing shoes.
just go barefoot. Yeah. Well, it'll be a great
There you go.
time. We are absolutely looking forward to this, and I don't know, guys. Anything in closing?
Nope, I'm all good.
Duke, anything?
Ready to roll. Countdown to Coloma. 2 days to go. Anybody that's watching my channel, I've been posting all week long to all the Facebook groups, mine, Montana Bigfoot Project, and over to World Bigfoot Central on MeWe. All the videos from last year when we did this expedition, which, as it turned out, was 9 of them. And I've been posting a new one every day, and there's still 2 more to come out before we actually head up there. So if you missed it, catch up on it. There's you can watch all the stuff that came out last year.
Absolutely, and again, stay tuned to the Paranormal Portal. We'll bring it to you live as much as we can, guys. So I guess, Don, anything in closing?
You gonna leave me on the screen as we go out?
I like it when you're on the screen.
I like me on the screen.
Dong dead. Ahoy.
I'd screen me hard. I'm so tired.
Oh my God, we gotta get this off the air before I get demonetized.
I'll see you this weekend, Duke.
All right, it's going to be fun. Don't get hit by Bigfoot.
I'm not up for an ettin.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back tomorrow with some night terrors, and then it'll be 2 days of Expedition Coloma coming up for you. So love you guys. Have a great night, and thank you for being here and being a part of it. We'll talk to you soon. Good night, and sweet dreams.
Happy Up Day.
Don't hug the Wookiee.